of the holiday season for me when we gather together and recognize the Burney recipient. This is a unique year this year because of that ugly COVID disease that's been flirting around for the last 3 years. We've not been here. My wife reminded me this morning to make sure that I'm not wearing the same suit I wore the last time we were here. This is a special day honoring these three ladies today. I've known Kate Houston my whole life, and I've known Georgia and Karen since I moved back here 29 years ago. So it's a very, very unique day today. Again, I'm glad we can convene together, and at this time I would like for us to rise and for the national anthem. I'm glad you're here. It means a lot to the town. The imprint and footprint that your parents left on this town is wonderful, and it was nice to know them and consider them friends, and I'm glad you're here. At this time, I would like any recipients of the Burney Award that are present to stand up and be acknowledged. All right, I guess I'm going to give it to Connie Western.
I've never been so proud of Nicole Morgan. Practice, so you'll forgive us. Before we get started, I just want to offer a few thank yous. Amanda and Betsy have done yeoman's work on this, and we really appreciate all that they do. Also want to acknowledge all the people who are on the committee. Most of them are Burney winners, but not all of them, and so those of you who serve on the committee with us, we are so happy to be part of that. And then I just want to also, if there are town board members in the audience today, will you stand up? So this is a celebration of service, of the service of Karen Houston and Georgia Krueger and Karen Toney, who are our 2020, our 21, and our 22 recipients of the Jack Burney Community Service Award. This is presented by a grateful town on November 23rd. In this season of Thanksgiving, our town has made a habit, thanks to the generosity of the Burney family and the foresight of the Wimps, to pay tribute to people who offered Davidson the highest degree of servant leadership. COVID brought this tradition to an abrupt halt in November 2020. And for the last 2 years, we've really wrestled with how to best honor our most dedicated neighbors while remaining mindful of the risks of gathering. Last year, when we felt we could wait no longer for the world to right itself, we forged ahead with a different type of celebration. Karen Houston, a true daughter of Davidson and a stalwart champion of the town's first responders, was our committee's unanimous pick for the Burney Award. Karen often cooks delicious dinners for our first responders. And a seat at Karen's table, as I've just said, is a prize event. At the time, we thought there was no finer tribute to her years of service in support of our firefighters and police officers than to name Karen as the Grand Marshal of the Holiday Parade and commemorate the honor by presenting her with a custom-made helmet and fire shield. I want to say a word about that. The gentleman, Greg, who made the shield for her helmet, a hand-tooled piece, I had noticed him down in the fire department years ago making them, and I called him out of the blue and said, I have this idea. And in true fashion, and so I just want to thank him in absentia, he said, oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, we can totally do that. He made that, donated it. It is a work of art. It really is beautiful. So thanks to Greg.
Karen, whom many of us know as Kay, was reared in Davidson by her devoted mother, Bernice, and with her sister Ruby by her side. It was here that she made friends, had family all around her, and grew into a lifelong rock of this community. When it's time to vote in Davidson, Kay drives throughout town, giving people rides to the polls. The Kay Houston Election Day Taxi has made it possible for hundreds of people to vote over the past decades. She is determined that the sacred right to vote is everybody's right. And she does not listen to any protest about something like bad weather getting in the way of that vote. Rain or shine, Kay's smiling face is always in evidence at Town Hall, coming and going with her voters. When COVID threw us all off our game, Kay didn't skip a beat. She turned that Election Day taxi into a COVID vaccine taxi, making sure the neighborhood came out to the Ada Jenkins Center to keep us all safer. She stationed herself at Ada, greeting her friends, both young and old, ushering them into the building, and helping them register and feel safe in an unusual medical environment.
While we couldn't gather here in Town Hall to celebrate with Kay, I know many of us lined the parade route to wave, to shout, and to beam with pride as Kay led the way that day. That she rose to the potential of the day, undaunted by the wrench thrown at all of us by the pandemic, seemed testament to the service she has offered our community, not least of which was helping to organize, promote, and staff these town-sponsored COVID clinics. Thank you for your service to the town, for your long-standing of our firefighters and police officers, and for choosing the fire department last year, recipient of your Burney Award donation. Kay, the council salutes you today. Kay has just let me know that her mom isn't here today because she's in the hospital. So please keep a thought in your heart for Bernice. Bernice is very dear to all of us.
And the first previous recipient, the first one.
So, in our eagerness to get the Burney ceremony and celebration back on track this year, the committee also decided to break with tradition one additional time, naming 2 honorees this year. Georgia Krueger is our 2021 honoree, As in Kay's case, COVID wreaked a little havoc with the celebrations one might have expected to see, honoring Georgia's longtime service to our community when she retired as Ada Jenkins' longest-serving executive director in spring 2020. We count ourselves fortunate to be able to add Georgia's name to the long list of Burney honorees on the wall here at Town Hall, even if it did take an extra year to make it happen. Like the Burney winners before her, Georgia has sunk her soul into this town, knitting us all together in a web of service. Her impact runs from the shores of Lake Norman Y and the adaptive swimming water sports program she's helped build through to the model of community support and empowerment that is today's Ada Jenkins Center. She's a whirlwind of energy, and the many of us who've been swept up in her wake as she charges up Main Street on any given day know the call to service she models for us and demands from us all. Georgia trained initially at App State with a firm plan in mind to become a teacher, choosing PE when she figured out that English teachers had to wear dresses to school. After graduation, she decamped to Rock Hill, teaching first in a Catholic school, then moving to a high-poverty public school with a stint somewhere in there in Montessori. In her own words, she left the classroom because I didn't get to make enough decisions. Imagine that. Here's, though, where I think our story gets its legs. A theme begins to emerge, and it's not about being bossy. Though those of us who love her and know her know she can be. Rather, it's about Georgia's ability to see connection and sense opportunity in places the rest of us just don't often look, because she has so expansive a view of what those opportunities carry with them. That she brought the whole dog and pony show here to Davidson is our great fortune. Thank you, Georgia.
Now, we mentioned that we have 2 honorees to celebrate today, actually 3. And in doing so, we finally put to rest the long pall COVID cast over the logistics of this annual celebration, though never over its spirit. Karen Toney is our 2022 Burney honoree. Karen grew up in Cross Lanes, West Virginia. She participated in youth group, crop walks, and the high school band. It was there she learned what she calls foundational leadership, carrying it with her into her adult life. Karen believes that no one person is more important on a team than another. She lifts people up, from high schoolers who learn about food service to seniors who meet in the store. Karen arrived in Mooresville in 1993 to work for the Mooresville Animal Hospital, armed with her degree from Fairmont State College in veterinary technology. She always loved animals, even volunteering for a time at the Riverbank Zoo. In Mooresville, she lived with her great aunt and uncle, and it was only shortly after her move that she was discovered by Phyllis Schultz of Ben & Jerry's, who asked Karen to work at her new ice cream store in Davidson. It was the beginning of a beautiful relationship with Phyllis and with our town over the past almost 30 years. Karen wants people to come together in her store with a sense of community and belonging. She has mentored hundreds of youth through employment opportunities, teaching them responsibility, conflict resolution, resilience, and other important life skills. Karen also created events for the town, beginning with concerts on the green, which she conceived with the village store's Megan Blackwell. Next came being president of the newly formed Merchants Association, bringing organization and new ideas to our downtown. At Ben & Jerry's, now hold on for this, she is responsible for over 2,000 pints of blood 2,000 pints of blood collected at her quarterly blood drives. Last year, just for fun, she created the Mary Main Street Tricycle Race during Christmas in Davidson. So stay put in Davidson after the parade is finished for the tricycle race.
Stay on the road.
Yeah, get us out of the way, especially for the lawyers. And these teams comprise groups of businesses, and the proceeds, of course, go to nonprofits. Another nonprofit that Karen supports in the store and online is the Odd Sock, which provides socks for the homeless and is the recipient of her honorarium. Caring for others is a guiding light for Karen, and she believes that it has not only to do with her upbringing, but also with her relationship with and devotion to her church. Karen's summer camps bring 16 lucky kids, ages 6 to 14, for a fun and unique week of their summer. Local businesses give campers a day in the life of experiences that teach them everything from how the post office works, how you put a stamp on a letter and where it goes, how the judicial system operates,
We thank those lawyers.
through a participatory mock trial, to important lessons about personal finances and banking. Bringing her love of dogs to her community work, Karen supports continuing the mission, giving doggy desserts to celebrate graduate support dogs when they receive their veteran partners. Karen embodies Jerry's philosophy that a business has a responsibility to give back to the community that supports them. As someone observed, Karen is a seemingly limitless source for care, love, and good in our community. Karen, for loving us and for creating community in hundreds of ways, we salute you.
So before we close, I just want to add a personal note for Karen, and I know that Lisa, sitting in the back, will echo this. In my years at CSD, we tried a number of things that were crazy ideas, and almost always it fell to me to go to somebody in town and say, I have a crazy idea. Karen was one of those targets. Years ago, I went to her and said, I have this crazy idea, we have this crazy idea, would you consider? She took one student on that year, exceptional student on, who was difficult, really difficult. That kid is now 28 then? He developed beyond anything that our school could ever have done for him. And she has done that for legions of kids since. Kids that acquire job skills, kids that acquire social skills, kids that develop in ways that we as educators hope they have in them, but have a hard time digging out. To have a partner like that in the community who is willing to embrace a kid, take a risk, and take a risk that is difficult when you're trying to run a business. You know, the help might go running down the street at some point. So, I can't, we as a school and those kids cannot thank you. So to these three wonderful women, we say thank you. Davidson would not be Davidson without you, and we do love all of you. Thank you. So this is the gift and swag portion of the event. And so what we can say is that there was an interdepartmental transfer because Karen was so efficient as to choose someone right here in Town Hall. So there was a gift made to the fire department last year in Karen's name. But as has been tradition for the last 10 or so years, students at Community School of Davidson have kids weren't in school, they were in school, it was very hard to coordinate. And so when we knew we were going to get back together this year, we hadn't helped yet. Now, all of them have graduated, and they have been a blend of
Good morning. Thank you to every one of you for coming. And especially thank you for the fire department. As you all may know, they're my heroes. Sometimes they're my kids and just whatever. But I love them all, and I don't think that people realize what they do on a daily basis. It's not just about putting out fires. It's medical calls. It's sometimes getting calls in the middle of the night saying I hear a noise. It may be an alarm clock. It may be a skunk. It can be a number of things, but we just salute them because they have a really hard job. They really do. And like I said, it's not one thing, it's multiple things. And so that's why I chose them, because I know a lot of organizations get donations and stuff, but the fire department doesn't always. And always remember that when you need somebody to come, if you're sick, if you're falling down, it's Davidson Fire Department. And also Davidson Police. You know, if you got trouble, those are the people that are going to come and make sure that you're okay. So, my guys. Who is retired from Charlotte, and he became my hero when he first came up here. And so we're just excited, and I thank each and every one of you, and I ask for continued prayers for my mom. Just a little short story. She got sick on Saturday. She woke up and she was experiencing dizziness and a little nausea. Well, of course, we kind of felt like it was in a ear, and so we called the doctor. She didn't want to go, and she refused to go to the emergency center. So anyway, we just kind of played it by ear, but by Sunday, she continued to feel bad. So she was taken to CMC in Huntsville, and then they decided to admit her. So Monday, she was feeling better, but she was still experiencing dizziness. And Tuesday morning around 5:50, we got a big surprise. My mom flatlined, meaning her heart stopped. But thank God it was a situation where
I want to echo Kay's thanks to everybody. When Toney called me, I think for one of the very few times in my life, I was speechless. Thank you, Jane. I was absolutely dumbfounded, and still am pretty dumbfounded to be here with these two friends of mine, my phone falling, and with all of the winners of the award. The Burney family has been just unbelievable to this town, and what an incredible honor to be a part of, a very extended part of that circle. And I remember the Wimps. I remember them hanging out, being at the soda shop, or wherever they happen to be, and solving not just the town's problems, but the whole world's problems, for which we're all thankful. One of the things that I've always loved about our town is that it is our town. And all of us have the opportunity to reach out to each other, to love each other, and to share that. I will tell people anywhere that, except that I'm now saying really quietly, and actually I'm telling people they wouldn't like living here. But, you know, it's just pure selfishness. It is home. Davidson, I grew up in Chapel Hill, but Davidson's home. I've been here by far the majority of my life now, and it will always be home. I couldn't be more excited that my brother and sister-in-law surprised me and came today. So, from Chapel Hill. Part of what makes our town special is our ability to be involved in it. And I challenge, especially people who are new, to really, to step in. We live in a town that's supportive, and we need to find ways collaboratively to help preserve that, to work together in peacefully and nicely and cooperatively. Not that there's anything that isn't like that ever, but the idea that we can be and should be really good listeners, and listening to hear, not listening to speak. It's so important that we do that, and sometimes we forget we are listening to speak. And I just would really hope that we do that, and we do it with kindness and love. One of the things that I love about our town, besides all the millions of others, is our police department. I think they are by far the best police department anywhere in the world. And as Kay said, the fire department does a million things. The police department also is doing a million things all over the place. One of the things that's important to me is that they all know where I live, because we live down a little that has gone out of their way to work with our community, but this is a step that makes it even better, and I'm very, very thankful for that. Again, I can't thank you all enough. This is not about Georgia or anything Georgia, Kay, or Karen have done. We get the honor. What we hope is that people see God through us, and it's not us, it's the love that comes through Him, and we're just very thank you all.
Well, since George went over her 5 minutes. We didn't know you had one. No, all I want to say is I love this town. I've been offered partnerships or Ben and Jerry's or potentially to go other places. I'm like, no, because Davidson's not there. I've been around long enough when there were 9 police officers, 3 on PM, 3 on AM, and 3 off. So if you knew where the 3 cops were, the rest of you were safe. Meisenheimer used to come and shop at night to make sure we were safe. And every now and then he would take trash. And when I first moved here, I was 23, and someone, actually Shannon Kirkendall, who worked as a vet with me, told me about this new ice cream shop that was opening. And I thought, great, a college town, kids my age, I get to meet people and know them. Well, I'm now 53 and they're still 21. It didn't work out so well. But yeah, I love this town. I love the people in this town. And as I've told my assistant manager, Whitney Utley, who laughs all the time at my scooter, because there's nowhere to park in this town. And she's like, if I can't get there on the scooter, I'm not going. And I said, well, then heaven must be really close, because when I die, I can only go a scooter distance away. So, we are honored to be here. I'm honored for the people that nominated me. I love what I do. I'm certainly not there for the pay. I'm here for the personal reward and an opportunity where I can be in a town where I can say to Kim, hey, let's have a tricycle race. And she's like, well, okay, well, when can we do it? I'm like, I don't know, when can we do it? And the next thing you know, we have a tricycle race, and it's fabulous. So, thank you all for coming out, and George is right that, you know, we would love to take all the claim for ourselves, but it's, you know, my relationship with Christ that makes me want to love others and try to think more highly of people even when they don't deserve it. Because certainly I have not deserved it much in my life. So thanks for coming out.
Perfect segue.
Wait, you didn't win anything?
No, I did not win anything. Yes, I've been asked to give a benediction. Yes. I am Michael Blake. I'm one of the pastors at Story Hill Church, and I have been asked to give a benediction. Before I do, if we'll just take one more time, not only to thank our recipients, but to thank all the people who worked behind the scenes. To offer a benediction from the Hebrew Scriptures, the 90th Psalm. Will you stand and receive it? And then we'll be done. May the favor of the Lord our God rest on us and establish for us the work of our hands. Yes, establish the work of our hands. Go in peace.
Thank you, folks. Yeah. Refreshments in the rotunda, and thanks to the Moravian band.
She has the best one right now, so we don't give out a degree. But thank you so much for asking.